All right, so let's dive into It's a Wonderful Life,
Okay.
a real holiday classic. And we're going to try to explore
Yeah.
why it became so beloved,
Yeah.
even though when it first came out, it really bombed at the box office.
Yeah, it's interesting how
It flopped.
it did.
It's more than a movie, though,
Right.
right? It's really about how the
It's so
themes have resonated all these years.
what's fascinating is how those themes of hope
Oh,
and community,
yeah,
they almost become part of the holiday season itself.
exactly.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, you'd never know it was a flop when it came out in 46.
Yeah.
What do you think was going on back then
Well,
that might have impacted how it was received?
post-World War II, America
Ugh.
was a really interesting time.
Yeah,
It had all this optimism,
of course.
but also this huge task of rebuilding.
Oh, yeah, rebuilding lives and the country.
Exactly.
Hmm.
People were grappling with a lot back then.
So maybe audiences weren't quite ready for a film
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
while it's hopeful, it also doesn't shy away from
No, it doesn't.
some
Yeah.
pretty tough stuff.
Right.
It deals with failure and sacrifice,
Totally.
even suicidal thought.
It does, yeah. And also you have to consider Frank Capra,
Oh, yeah.
who directed it.
He was already known for
Right.
those really heartwarming,
Yeah.
feel-good films.
Exactly. Heartwarming and
With a strong social conscience.
exactly.
Like, Mr. Smith goes to Washington.
Yeah.
So, audiences might have just
It's just
expected
a purely uplifting.
something light.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like,
Instead, they got
I got some
a
fun.
film that digs into the complexities of life,
Yeah.
especially through George Bailey.
And his struggles, I think, feel so relatable even today.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
George Bailey's character
Yeah.
resonates so strongly
Mm.
because so many people
Yeah.
understand that feeling of being stuck,
Right.
having to put your dreams on hold
Yeah.
for family, for other obligations.
Yeah, you have these aspirations, but you're constantly sacrificing
Right.
for your family
Yeah.
and community.
Exactly.
And then when he feels like those sacrifices have amounted to nothing,
Right.
that's when Clarence the angel enters the picture.
Right.
What are your thoughts on Clarence and the whole guardian angel
I
concept?
think bringing in Clarence and having him show George what the world would be like without him
Oh, yeah.
is where the film takes this
Yeah.
really interesting, fantastical turn.
Mm-hmm.
Really makes you think about
Oh,
our impact on the world.
yeah.
You
The
know,
ripple effect of even small
the
acts.
ripple effect of even seemingly insignificant actions.
Yeah.
It's not just about
Yeah.
individual success.
Right.
It's about realizing that we're all connected
Yeah.
and we all contribute to something bigger than ourselves,
Something bigger. Yeah.
which was probably particularly resonant in that post-war period. As communities were rebuilding,
Oh, for sure.
people were looking for that sense of belonging.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Speaking of impact, one of the most striking elements of the film
Oh, yeah.
is Pottersville,
Right.
that dark and unsettling
Yeah.
version of Bedford Falls that George sees without him.
Right.
What do you make of that visual choice?
Visually, it's so powerful.
Yeah.
Pottersville really drives home
Oh, it does.
the film's message.
About how important our individual contributions are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even seemingly small acts of kindness
Mm-hmm.
can have a huge impact.
On the world around us, yeah.
Yeah.
It makes you think about how
It's a
your choices can ripple outward,
Mhm.
while we're talking about impactful moments.
Yeah.
I've always found the ending
Okay.
with the single bell ringing to be incredibly moving.
Yeah.
Did you know that symbolizes an angel getting its wings?
It's such a small detail,
It is.
but it adds
Yeah.
another layer of meaning
For sure.
to that hopeful ending.
Yeah.
It really reinforces the idea that
Mhm.
there are unseen forces at work in our lives,
Yeah.
perhaps even suggesting that
Mhm.
George's impact goes beyond what he can even see.
And speaking of things we might not see
Oh,
at first glance,
Yeah.
there's a lot to unpack
Oh, yeah.
in George's relationship with Mary.
Totally.
She's often viewed as this supportive figure,
Mhm.
but she's also
Oh, yeah.
strong and independent in her own right.
She is.
What are your thoughts on her role?
You're right. Mary's often overlooked,
Mm-hmm.
but she's absolutely essential to the story.
Yeah.
She's not just there to support George.
Yeah.
She's actively shaping his journey.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
she's the one who truly believes in him.
Yeah. Even when he doubts himself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And she helps him to recognize the good in his
Right.
life.
Yeah.
She's a reminder that
Mhm.
we need people in our lives who believe in us,
Absolutely.
who help us see our worth when we can't see it ourselves.
She represents that steadfast love and connection
She does.
that the film argues is essential for a fulfilling life.
Totally.
And it makes you think, especially in today's world with all the pressures,
All right.
How do the messages of It's a Wonderful Life hold up?
Yeah.
You know, we live in a time of social media,
Yeah.
hustle culture, constant comparison.
Yeah.
Is a film about prioritizing community and simple things.
It's so interesting
Staying the relevant.
about this film is that
Yeah.
in many ways, its messages
Right.
about self-worth and community
Yeah.
are even more relevant today.
Yeah.
We're bombarded with all these messages
Right.
about what a successful life looks like.
Yeah. Money, fame, followers.
Exactly, money, fame, followers.
Yeah.
It's easy to lose sight of what truly matters.
So, wait.
And that's where It's a Wonderful Life comes in
Yeah.
as this powerful antidote.
Right.
It reminds us that true wealth
Mhm.
isn't about material possessions.
Right.
It's about the depth of our relationships,
Yeah.
the impact we have on others,
Right.
finding meaning and purpose.
Yeah. Beyond those superficial measures of success. It's like the film is saying, hey, look at George Bailey.
Right.
He didn't achieve some grand ambition. He lived a simple life,
Right.
dedicated to his family and community. And that's what makes it a wonderful life.
Which challenges us
Yeah.
to examine our own definitions
Right.
of success and happiness.
What does a truly wonderful life look like?
Exactly.
Yeah, for each of us.
It's a question worth considering.
It really is.
Yeah.
And while the film's message feels so relevant today,
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting to think about
Yeah.
how audiences back then
Right.
may have responded to a film with such depth.
Yeah.
What do you think contributed to It's a Wonderful Life
Yeah.
becoming this holiday tradition,
Mm-hmm.
even though it wasn't initially a hit?
I think it taps into something universal.
Yeah.
This longing for second chances,
Mm-hmm.
for recognizing the value of our own lives.
And that feeling is heightened during the holiday. When we're reflecting on the past year
Yes.
and looking ahead.
It's a reminder to be grateful
Yeah.
for what we have.
Even when things are tough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It encourages us to remember we're all connected.
Yeah, we're not alone.
We're not alone in our struggles.
And that even small acts of kindness can create a ripple effect.
Yeah, totally. Speaking of small acts and their significance,
Yeah.
did you know that the original story that inspired the film was called The Greatest Gift?
Oh, wow.
It really highlights how
Yeah.
even small gestures can have
Right.
profound consequences.
It's fascinating how such a simple story became this beloved film.
It is.
And even though It's a Wonderful Life
Yeah.
is so closely associated with Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
its themes feel relevant year-round.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
While it's become a holiday staple,
Mm-hmm.
that message of hope and redemption
Yeah.
really transcends any particular season.
And yet watching it during the holidays
Right.
does seem to add
Yeah.
another layer of emotion.
It does.
Perhaps it's that feeling of community and togetherness we associate with the holidays.
Right.
Or maybe it's a reminder that
Yeah.
even when things feel dark, there's always hope.
There is.
And speaking of darkness,
Yeah.
one thing that struck me
Mhm.
is how honestly the film portrays
Yeah.
George Bailey's struggles.
Right.
He goes through some
He does.
incredibly difficult experiences.
He faces financial struggles, setbacks, disappointments.
Yeah.
He even contemplates suicide.
It's through these very real challenges
It is.
that he ultimately learns to appreciate
Right.
the value of his life and the people in it.
It's a powerful message
It is.
that even when things seem hopeless,
Yeah.
there's always a reason to keep going.
And that even the most ordinary lives can have extraordinary meaning.
Exactly. We focused a lot on George Bailey,
Yeah.
but I'm curious, what are your thoughts
Yeah.
on his relationship with Mary?
Oh, yeah.
She's often seen as simply supportive,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a real strength and independence
Right.
to her character as well.
Yes. Mary is so much more than just a supportive wife.
She is.
She's the glue that holds their family together.
She is.
She's the one who reminds George
Yes.
of his worth when he's lost sight of it.
Exactly.
It makes you think about the importance
It does.
of having those people in our lives
Mhm.
who believe in us unconditionally.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Mary demonstrates that
Yeah.
love and connection are essential
Yeah.
for a truly fulfilling life.
And that connects back to what we were discussing earlier
Mhm.
about the film's relevance today.
Yes.
In a world that often prioritizes
Right.
individual ambition,
Mm-hmm.
It's a Wonderful Life reminds us
Yes.
of the importance of human connection,
Yeah.
of being there for one another.
And it goes even deeper than that.
Oh, yeah.
The film subtly critiques
Okay.
the individualistic and materialistic values that were prevalent even back then, values that are even more amplified today.
Oh, for sure.
Think about the character of Mr. Potter.
Oh, yeah.
Who represents greed.
Right.
The pursuit of wealth at all costs. He's the antithesis of George Bailey, who prioritizes community and compassion.
That's such a great point.
Right.
It's like the film is holding up a mirror to society and saying, look, there's another way to live.
Exactly.
It's a reminder that true happiness comes not from accumulating wealth or status, but from cultivating meaningful relationships, contributing to something larger than ourselves.
Exactly. And that's a message I think we all need to hear.
Especially in today's world.
Especially in today's world.
It really makes you think.
It does.
About how we can apply these lessons to our own lives.
Right.
How we can bridge that gap between feeling inspired by the film and actually living out its message in our daily routines.
Right.
It's easy to feel touched by George Bailey's story.
It is.
But then we go back to the real world.
Right.
With all its demands and distractions.
Yeah. What are some tangible ways we can incorporate the film's wisdom into our lives? That's the real challenge, isn't it?
It is.
It's easy to get caught up
in the day
and lose sight of those bigger values.
Yeah.
But I think It's a Wonderful Life offers some guideposts. Remember how George's wonderful life wasn't about fame or fortune?
No.
It was about the impact he had on others. The connections he nurtured.
So it's about shifting our focus from individual achievement to a more community-minded approach.
Precisely.
Okay.
It's about understanding that our lives are intertwined. And that even small acts of kindness can ripple outward, affecting more people than we realize.
Than we might even imagine.
Think about that scene where George saves his brother Harry from drowning. That one act has repercussions throughout the entire film.
It sets Harry on the path to become a war hero, saving countless lives.
Exactly.
Yeah, it shows how one seemingly small act can have a profound impact.
And it challenges us to think about the potential ripple effects.
Of our own actions.
How can we contribute to the well-being of our own communities? Even in simple ways. What acts of kindness or generosity might we undertake that could have far-reaching consequences?
It's a call to be more conscious of our impact on the world. To consider the needs of others alongside our own. It's like the film is urging us to ask, what kind of legacy do we want to leave behind?
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
And it reminds us that we don't have to achieve grand sweeping things to make a difference. It's often the everyday acts of love, compassion, and generosity that truly matter.
Like a smile for a stranger.
Exactly.
Helping a neighbor with groceries. Or simply listening with your full attention when someone needs to talk.
Yes. These seemingly small gestures can brighten someone's day and have a ripple effect beyond what we can imagine.
It's a powerful message.
It is.
Especially in a culture that celebrates individual ambition and achievement above all else.
Yeah, it makes me wonder what a modern day It's a Wonderful Life look like.
Would George Bailey be a social media influencer or a tech entrepreneur?
Right. Or would the film still argue for the importance of a life dedicated to family, community, and those quiet acts of service?
I love that idea.
Right.
It would be interesting to see how those timeless themes would be explored in a contemporary setting.
Perhaps the modern George Bailey would be struggling to find balance in a world dominated by technology. And the relentless pursuit of success.
Maybe he'd find fulfillment in building a local community garden. Or advocating for social justice online.
I love that.
Yeah.
It would be so interesting to see how that message of hope and human connection would translate to our digital age.
But regardless of the setting, I think the core message would remain the same.
It would.
That a truly wonderful life is one that's lived in service to others, that finds joy in simple things, and genuine connection.
And it all comes back to that central question. What does a wonderful life look like to you?
What does it look like?
How do you define success and fulfillment? Is it about individual achievement? Or is it something more?
And as we wrap up this deep dive into It's a Wonderful Life, we leave you, dear listener, with that question to ponder.
Yes. What small act of kindness or generosity?
Right.
Might you undertake today? That could have a ripple effect on those around you.
Remember, even the smallest gestures can make a world of difference.
They can.
Thanks for joining us on this journey through a true cinematic classic.
It is.
We hope you've gained some new insights into It's a Wonderful Life and its enduring message of hope, community, and the power of human connection.